Hi there guys, Vino here and welcome back to this Vino Plunk production. Now what I want to do periodically going forward now for a little bit is revisit some pieces of my collection and maybe reevaluate them within my collection and talk about why I bought them, how much I've watched them, you know, gone through the various features of them and sort of give you guys an idea of how much, whether it's just a collector's piece, whether I've watched much of it, and sort of, this will also give me the opportunity to sort of look back on these videos and go, oh, how much of that set or that series or whatever it may be did I actually go through. And I'm going to start doing it with any set I've had for a year. Now I've had this for over a year now, and this is the House of Hitchcock Blu-ray collection. Now to give you a bit of context when it comes to this particular set, there were two previous versions of Hitchcock Blu-ray sets released. There was the Masterpiece collection, then there was the Filmmaker collection, and now there's the House of Hitchcock collection. The Masterpiece collection had 14 or 15 films in it. The Masterpiece collection added, sorry. The Filmmaker collection added 2 more films to that, and then they came out with this one. The reason why those films have been steadily added to and more of these sets released is because Universal came across a vault on one of their lots and basically found a lot of the original film negative of Hitchcock films. And they went through the long process of remastering them. Basically, just to give a bit more context, they were long thought lost. They also found a bunch of other things in that vault as well, but these film negatives were long thought lost, which is why not many of the Hitchcock films got Blu-ray releases. However, they managed to find those film negatives and they've been slowly working their way through the various films. Let's also be honest that Universal have been milking it for all it's worth, because the first 2 sets were not cheap and this wasn't exactly cheap. The first 2 sets went between £100 to £120 when they first came out, and this is £100. All 3 sets are now out of print. I paid £70 personally for this set because I managed to find it for a good deal on eBay, but they are all 3 out of print. You can still get hold of them, but they do now garner collector's prices. So with all that being said, let's take another look at this particular set. So first of all, you've been looking at the front of this, and of course this is the Bates house, if you don't recognise it. And in the various windows are depictions of various Hitchcock films. You may not be able to see this on camera, but this is actually lenticular. The bats, or the birds as they are, which of course is a reference to the birds, are all fluttering away. Plus you can actually see Alfred Hitchcock himself in the front door. Now different versions of this set, different regions of this set have a different lenticular cover. This one is kind of 3D. There's another one that was released in the rest of Europe in which you could tilt it and then what's in these windows would change to different films. There are some that don't have a lenticular cover at all, just to let you know. Also, the different releases of the sets in different regions have a different quantity of films. The only reason I can think that has happened is due to licensing. They can't, for some reason, release those films in those territories. I don't know why, to be honest, but it's a bit of a sad thing, to be honest. But it also makes this set also regionally unique, which is weird. Also, here in the UK, we got the most amount of films at 18 apiece. Some territories got 16, some got 17, and we got 18. Some territories also got a smattering of the Alfred Hitchcock Presents and some episodes from that on one of the Blu-rays. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. But hey, so you then look at the side of this set and you can see the other parts of the Bates house, and then we look at the back, which tells you the contents of this particular set. which I've just thrown all over the floor. And if we now look at the bottom of it, you get all of the film, no, it's this way, all the film information and of course the age certificates, all that kind of stuff. So I have just pulled it out all onto the floor, which is one way to show off a set, I suppose. Not really necessarily the best way, hey, to show off a set that is of course as pricey as this, and I'd prefer not to break it. So the way you get into the set is at the top here. You've got a pull tab. Now again, to get into the regional differences with this set, this is actually magnetised on some region sets. It's not magnetised on here, it's a friction fit. Again, I don't know why this set changes depending on the region. There may be a further reason I don't know about, but hey, you open up this and then you can flip this on its side and you can see sort of a panogram, I suppose you could say, of Alfred Hitchcock himself then. So you get 4 keep cases, Blu-ray keep cases of Hitchcock films. So on the first one, you've got Topaz, Frenzy and Family Plots, and you've also got various excerpts from the posters of these particular films. And then you can see that we have the Blu-ray discs involved. I'm going to sneeze. And if you actually take off the discs, you've got the credits and all that kind of information on there. On the back, you have a synopsis of each of the films, which I actually think is rather nice. We'll put that to one side. Next up, we have Psycho, The Birds, Marnie and Torn Curtain. Once again, if you open them up, you are presented with all of the discs. There we go. These are actually really sturdy cases, especially the ones that have the more discs in them. This one that only has 3 or 4 discs and it does feel a bit light, but these feel really sturdy and quite hefty actually for what they are. And of course, that's the back. Next up, we have To Catch a Thief, The Trouble with Harry, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo and North by Northwest. So there we go. I do believe in this particular set, North by Northwest might be one of the films that was added to the set over the last one. But anyway, of course, now we go into the discs again. And of course the back. And once again, we get some nice synopsis, however you want to say that, about those particular films. And last but by no means least, we got Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, Rope, Strangers on a Train, Dial M for Murder and Rear Window. So there we go. And we open that once again and we are presented with the discs once again, and on the back we have the synopsis again. Now, previous iterations of these films have had maybe a better presentation than this, and I was actually a little bit, because I used to have the filmmaker collection. I sold it a number of years ago because I just got more money back for it than I paid in the first place, to be honest, and at the time needed some money. At first, when I first bought this set and I was waiting for it to arrive, I wasn't sure how I would feel about the presentation of this set in terms of the films themselves, but I have to say I've grown to like it over the years. So that's the sets themselves. If we now go back into the box, you put out this little pamphlet box, whatever you call it, that says the House of Hitchcock on it. Of course, you can just open up the back. You've got that, I call it the Alfred Hitchcock swirl effect, and it's very prevalent in a lot of the media, like marketing surrounding him, and he himself is the master of suspense. You get this correspondence, which contains letters for Alfred Hitchcock. We'll get to that in a minute. You also get a Bates Motel Do Not Disturb doorknob hanger. You also get the blueprints for the Bates house, which of course, the fact that the box set is modelled after Bates' house is a nice inclusion. You also get a little booklet which contains trivia and bits and bobs about Mr. Hitchcock himself. I do believe there's a little question answer thing at the back. So quite a nice little thing there. I think much like a lot of these sets that Universal has released, this is an excerpt from a bigger book you can of course buy, but it's nice to get a taste of that book. You also get these postcards. This is to do with the birds. The birds again. Oh, these must all be birds related concept images, I do believe. Again, one of Hitchcock's more notable films, so they've included some extra pieces, bits and bobs to do with that. I'll put that band back on a bit later. And then you get, you also get a notepad, a Bates Motel notepad that I'm actually going to move because it's gotten a little bit stained for some reason. And you also get little poster cards with trivia on the back to do with each of the films. So, Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, Rope, which is a really interesting film, the way it was done and the way it was filmed. Rear Window, To Catch a Thief. And these are really nice lithograph quality little posters here. The Trouble with Harry, The Man Who Knew Too Much, Vertigo, Psycho, the only film in this set that I've personally watched, The Birds, Marnie, Torn Curtain, Topaz, Frenzy, Family Plot, Strangers on a Train. Oh, I'm getting a little bit out of hand. I'm sure I can feature that. Dial M for Murder, and North by Northwest. So there we go. And if you're a bit of a geek like I am when it comes to age ratings, the reason why the set has got an 18 age rating is because of Frenzy. So there we go. A little bit of a, but yeah, really nice lithograph style mini posters there. So yes, that has been another look at the Alfred Hitchcock House of Hitchcock collection that Universal released, the Blu-ray collection. So as I just stated, I've only watched Psycho so far. I've watched Psycho a number of times in the time that I've owned the set, and the film is as phenomenal as people have said. I haven't watched many other films because, to be honest, this set, you know, it feels a bit of a big undertaking to get through. But there's a number of films on this set that I really want to delve into. Rope, North by Northwest, Vertigo. There's a number of films that I've heard such good things about that I'd love to get into. And of course, I'll be doing so very shortly. And of course, there'll be reviews appearing on this channel when I do so. Hopefully you have enjoyed this. Another look at this quite wonderful set I must say, if you do manage to find it yourself, please let me know down in the comment section below. Or if you have one of the other sets that are available out in the world, then please do so. There is, I forgot to mention earlier, there is a much cheaper set that was released both here in the UK and the US for around $50 or around £50, give or take, you know, some pounds or dollars here and there. But there's a more budget orientated version, and of course that's one that I'd probably suggest going for. But if you want to push the boat out a little bit more, then maybe consider picking up one of these. Unfortunately they are all out of print, but hopefully you'll be able to pick one up. Until next time guys, please take care, and as always enjoy the rest of your day.